Hi, and welcome to my channel, Laura's Library Card. So this video is going to be the Midnight Sun tag by Nicole from Nicole Reads. Her channel is down in the description, and I just wanted to say that I am super looking forward to doing this tag, and you'll get my thoughts in just a second. But of course, wanted to say right up front that Stephenie Meyer definitely, her portrayal of the Quaalude tribe in the whole of the Twilight series, it's minimally in this book just because Jacob hasn't come into the series yet, but that doesn't discount the fact that Stephenie Meyer wrote about this real life tribe of the Quaaludes who really did exist. Not something that I realized at age 15 or whatever when this first came out, and didn't do them justice and sort of appropriated some of their culture, and that's not cool, that's not right, it's not a good portrayal of these real people who are actually struggling in current times to move to higher lands because their current areas where they live are in danger of flooding and tsunamis. So I definitely don't agree with the representation and sort of trying to be nice and PC here. I don't agree with how she took those anything real that she might have researched from these people and put it in these books and sort of exploited it to make money. I have no idea for sure, but I sort of think not that she's ever paid anything toward the Quaaludes. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave links down in the description to support the tribe and their mission to move to higher lands. So please consider giving some money to support the Quaaludes, because I don't think Stephenie Meyer ever has, and she's made some money off of them. So here's the tag, here are my thoughts. So let's get started. The very first question is, what format did you read Midnight Sun? And my answer is, physically. I bought the book. It came on the day that it was released, and I have this chonker, and I read this chonker. Whew. And I am not going to hold it up for the whole video because it's heavy. I will say that I actually sampled the audio, just 30 seconds of it through my library, and I didn't love those 30 seconds, which, I mean, to be fair, I gave him a 30-second shot, but I didn't love the narrator for the little bit of sample that I listened to. Apparently the narrator is Jake Abel, who is an actor who was actually in The Host, and he was on Supernatural and some other things. But the little bit that I listened to him, it sounded like he was he had too deep and sexy of a voice for Edward. Edward's supposed to be 17 and intelligent and from another era, and so to me he needed to have a little bit more of a cultured tenor as opposed to a sexy bass. That was just my personal opinion, but maybe I'll listen to it someday because maybe the voice will help improve Edward. So the next question is, who were your least and your most favorite characters before reading Midnight Sun? Nicole definitely talked about how she, in this tag has 7 questions because there's 7 columns, and at this time. So before I read Midnight Sun, my least favorite Cullen was Rosalie. I know there's a ton of people out there who are like, I love Rose, she's so badass, and I'm just I didn't really see it. I mean, maybe it's because Bella doesn't really like her, so therefore we aren't really supposed to like her. I don't know. I just never felt like Rose was really that great. And my favorite Cullen before I read Midnight Sun was Alice, just because she's great, and she's Alice, and she's kind of everybody's favorite, and she's just awesome, and she is so protective and yet also so fun, and so Alice was definitely my favorite Cullen. As for from Twilight specifically, before I read Midnight Sun, I would say my least favorite character is Lauren. I mean, she's a really minor character, but she's definitely set up to be this pretty bully from Bella's perspective in Twilight. So I know that's not, she's not a main character, but if we're just looking at just Twilight, there we go. And honestly, I would probably say that my favorite character from just the book Twilight pre-Midnight Sun probably would honestly have to be Edward. Just because he was the center of Bella's like interest, and so he was meant to be super interesting, and so that worked for me. Okay, cool. The third question is, after you've read Midnight Sun, who are your least and most favorite characters? So just regarding the Cullens, who are my least and most favorite after reading Midnight Sun, I would say my least favorite Cullen is still Rose. I felt like this was I saw someone's complaint about this on Midnight Sun, is that like Edward and Rose like didn't really get along, and that like there was a lot of missed opportunity in Midnight Sun to like have Rose be in it more because she's such a cool character. And I'm just kind of like, I was totally fine with the amount of Rose that was in Midnight Sun, because like I don't really like Rosalie all that much. So she's still, I mean, like Esme has like 5 lines in the entire series, and I'm still like, I like Esme better than I like Rose. And then I will say that my favorite Cullen, after I've read Midnight Sun, this one was kind of tough. I still feel like Alice is my favorite Cullen, but I really appreciate the amount of Jasper we got in this book. I felt like he was much more understood from Edward's point of view than from Bella's point of view, and we get to like see a lot more of sort of Jasper's emotions and how he uses his like ability in this book. So I'm still gonna say Alice is technically my favorite Cullen, but like Jasper went from like third last or something, you know, somewhere in the middle, to like a really, really high up there. So I feel like he is most improved. Now for my least and most favorite from Midnight Sun, just as the book, my least favorite character is Jessica, just because she is such a bee, and we see that from Edward's point of view. She just has all these like kind of like, she's very like two-faced in Edward's point of view, in his opinion. Like she is all like, yeah, Bella, like I'm your new friend, but then she's like enjoying her like, you know, tangential popularity, and then she like, you know, views Bella as like a competition for Mike. And so Jessica really grates on your nerves in Midnight Sun. And then I would say that my favorite character after reading Midnight Sun is Alice, because she's the best character, period. Just kind of, she's my favorite in like the whole series. So question 4 is, what is your favorite edition? What is your favorite content that was added in Midnight Sun? I would say my favorite content was actually the like battle focus, which is when the Cullens are rushing across Phoenix to try to get to Bella to rescue her. Like they're all working in such like sync and in tandem, and like Jasper in particular is shining here, like projecting this like battle focus, is what Edward kind of terms it, for all of them to be like working together and like very like synergistically, and like, you know, they're all like firing on all their cylinders, and it was great. So I really enjoyed that whole scene. It really amped up the action, because I wondered going into Midnight Sun, I was like, okay, so Bella is facing all this tension, and she's like with the bad guy, and she has a bunch of action trying to like get away from Alice and Jasper, but like what about the action from the Cullens' point of view? And that did not disappoint. I mean, it could have been really dull. It could have been like they caught a cab to the place they needed to go to, but instead it was like this really cool scene that was full of action and you know, not a little bit of highway robbery, Grand Theft Auto. The 5th question is, what is your favorite song from the Stephenie Meyer playlist for Midnight Sun? I did not realize that Stephenie Meyer had put together a playlist for any of her books, let alone for Midnight Sun. So I have not had a chance to listen to said playlist, and I'm going to tell editing Laura to listen to it and to put that info right here. The 6th question is, what would you have liked to have seen in Midnight Sun but was not included? I would have liked to have not had so much creepy stalker stuff, but you can't like retcon change Twilight. So I would have actually really enjoyed seeing some like Edward, Emmett, Jasper time together. They had like a bachelor party in Breaking Dawn, like that would have been fun. I feel like the 3 of them would have like just had really cool like banter and chemistry and stuff. Like we did get to see a little bit of Emmett and Edward, and that was great. A lot of people really liked like seeing more of Emmett's character, and I did too, but I really would have liked like the 3 like bros hanging out. I also would have enjoyed just a smidgen more like Cullen group together, like maybe like a snippet of like what they were doing right before they came to Forks. They were all together, and this was only a couple years maybe before Twilight. So we could have seen like where they had just been living right before they came back to Forks, and like sort of what they were doing, and just I think like a little bit more of like some of the domestic stuff where they were all together would have been nice for me. And the very final question is, which did you like better, Midnight Sun or Twilight? And this is like really a difficult question to answer just because there's no way to be objective about that. Like, I read Twilight first. I couldn't have unread Twilight to read Midnight Sun. So I definitely was coming into Midnight Sun with all the preconceptions that I had from Twilight. That being said, if you really made me choose right at this exact moment, which again isn't fair because I've had 15 years to sit on Twilight, or 12 years or whatever to sit on Twilight and reread Twilight multiple times, and I have had 7 weeks to sit on Midnight Sun, and really only like 3 weeks since I finished it, or 4 weeks maybe, and I've only read it once, and not even 100%. I sort of skimmed through some of those earliest pages. So asterisks are done. I'm going to say that Midnight Sun is better. I just feel like there's a lot of issues that were sort of addressed and sort of loopholes that were sort of tied up, and I think Stephenie Meyer's writing has gotten better in Midnight Sun. Yes, was it really annoying to be so with Edward for so much of it? And like there was definitely some editing I think could have happened that I think editors were like, fans are gonna eat it up, totally just like cram it in there, like more Edward, yeah. But I do think that Midnight Sun is sort of a better book. I don't know how much sense someone who's never heard of Twilight or never heard of Midnight Sun or knows nothing about it, I'm not 100% sure if they read Midnight Sun first, if it would like make 100% sense. I feel like Midnight Sun was designed for people who have read Twilight. Like, I would like to actually find somebody who has only read Midnight Sun. Doesn't, like, never saw the movies, never read the books, doesn't really know anything about it. That'd be really interesting. So there you have it. That is the Midnight Sun tag. That was the original tag by nicolreads. And don't forget to check out her original video down in the description. Tell me who your favorite characters and least favorite characters and characters you despise, and why I'm wrong about Rosalie, all down in the comments. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you want to, and please make fun of me for all of the Midnight Sun content that I'm making. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!